Hello, y'all. So today let's talk about the 5 experiences that you have to do in order to say that your trip to Thailand was complete. Now, this is with the framing that you are ideally going to Bangkok or Phuket because those are the two cities that I'm going to speak on today. If you are new here, hi, my name is Brienne, and we are currently in a series where I am talking about all of my 2025 travel and sharing tips, sharing lessons learned, and just sharing the beauty of traveling internationally as a 31-year-old Black woman. So let's get into today. As I just mentioned, went to Phuket and Bangkok for my last time I went to Thailand. The time before that, I went to Chiang Mai, Koh Samui, Bangkok, and Thailand. Bangkok and Phuket. So I'll do a bit of a mix of the experiences I had in Bangkok and Phuket for 2024 and 2025 trips to Thailand. Let's start off with Phuket. You can't do a Phuket trip without going to see the Phi Phi Islands. And there's two different kinds of experiences that you can have when you go to Phi Phi Islands. You can either do the entire thing by speedboat, where the value of doing it that way is that you get to see more of the islands and you get to go to more stops. So the first time when I went in 2024, I got to, like, we probably did like 6 or 7 stops, but and that's because I did it via speedboat all the way from Phuket to Phi Phi Islands and around the Phi Phi Islands. The second time around, I did it via speedboat from Phuket to Phi Phi Islands. Usually that's about an hour, depending on what island you're stopping at. And then from Phi Phi Island, we got off the speedboat and went to a longtail boat. And that was definitely like the slower, more scenic, get your pictures, at the front of the boat kind of experience. So if you're considering Phi Phi Islands, just know like there are different options. I know for sure. We definitely saw and passed by several longtail boats from Phuket to Phi Phi Islands. 10 out of 10 do not recommend that because you're literally just wasting time. There's not much to see really from the Phuket to Phi Phi Islands leg of the trip. So keep that in mind as you're planning. Like if you would prefer to see as much as possible, go with the speedboat, all the way through. If you want to get to the Phi Phi Islands as soon as possible and then have a slower, more picturesque, more like stop and smell the roses kind of vibe, then go with the longtail boat once you get to Phi Phi Islands. I will link the experiences or the excursion companies that I went with in the description just so that you can take a look. I absolutely loved both of them. I think the Pole Phi Phi, which is the one I did the longtail boat with, they have multiple boats. So if you check their website and see a specific boat that you want, make sure you ask for the availability for that one. And then they have a ton of different packages you can choose from half day, full day, and all that jazz. The second thing that you have to see and do when you are in Thailand as a whole, but I will say Phuket and Chiang Mai definitely had the best of these, but that is an ethical elephant sanctuary. And we went to the Phuket Elephant Natural Reserve. Let me get my notes and double check that. The Phuket Elephant Nature Reserve. That is the one that we went to in Phuket this time around. I went to one in Chiang Mai the first time I went to Thailand. But I loved the Phuket Elephant Nature Reserve in Phuket specifically because the reality of an ethical experience is that you're not actually touching the elephants. Of course, you're not riding them. You're not bathing with them. And so there is no contact between you and the elephant. And while at first, I'm not going to lie, I was like, dang, like we're not going to be able to touch the trunk and all that. That's a very human-centered desire versus wanting what's best for the elephants. And so we still got to, cut up the food for them and fed them like from a basket versus like hand to food to mouth. So that was a lovely experience, cutting up the fruit, learning more about each of the elephants' experiences, walking with them through the jungle. And then there was like a lot that we did on the back end with this sounds really gross, but elephants are vegetarian and you can actually make paper out of their poop. And so that was an experience that we got to do as well, to each his own or her own. And then it ended with a cooking class, and you got to eat, I think it was pad thai and tom kha soup. So both were delicious. And then they also let you do take home containers to go. So love that. So that's the second thing, elephant sanctuary, ethical, ideally, please. The third big thing that you have to do in Phuket is go on a food tour. Now, the food tour that I selected was in Old Town Phuket, and I am actually fascinated at the Chinese and Portuguese influence that is baked into not just the food, but also the architecture down in Old Town Phuket. It's a very different experience than, like the Bangalore Road side of things, and even just the Yamu Village side where our villa was. So the food was amazing. I must say I've done cooking classes / food tours in Phuket, Bangkok, and Chiang Mai. All very different. Very different. I will say that the spices and whatnot are similar, but there's a lot more fried food, I'll put it that way, in Phuket. Nonetheless, it's really, I think, one beautiful way to learn about culture is through food, and the tour, I'll drop the link to that one as well in the video description, because the tour guides were incredibly educated. They were also very hospitable. So it was raining. When I say raining, I mean pouring, like running through the streets, grab your pearls, grab your purse kind of thing. And they went out of their way to go buy us ponchos and did their best to educate us while also dodging the rain. And I really appreciated that focus on our experience. And yeah, absolutely love the food tour. I will link it. I think we tried like 12 to 15 different dishes. So it was cool to experience dining with the locals while also as a tourist, like learning about the back end of the history of Old Town Phuket, the food, and just the influences outside of Thai culture. So that was lovely. Now, speaking of food tours, I'll pivot to the fourth thing that you have to do when you are in Thailand, and we're gonna go head over to Bangkok. So in Bangkok, they have a midnight food tour, and this food tour is all by tuk-tuk. So if you've seen any videos of like Bangkok or most parts of Thailand, well, I shouldn't say that. Bangkok especially has a ton of tuk-tuks, and they tend to be a bit overpriced if you're just trying to get from point A to point B. But the price of the food tour, like that was baked into it, if that makes sense. So you do some walking, you do some tuk-tuk experience, you go to Chinatown. Again, very well educated hosts. And I think with that one, we might have gone to like 6 or 7. But what was really cool about that food tour was that they took you to like many different neighborhoods within Bangkok. And there was a Michelin restaurant as well that we stopped at that you never would guess, because they actually cook the food like in a back alleyway. But the way in which they have people coming in and out of that place in rotation, it definitely was like, okay, yeah, y'all have earned this Michelin star. And the food was amazing. So I love that we stopped at the Michelin restaurant. We also stopped at the Michelin restaurant in Phuket. But the Bangkok food tour, we ended on a rooftop bar, and that rooftop bar overlooked the river, so you could see like all the river boats going across. There was also a stunning temple that was like on the other side of the river. And yeah, that was just such a cool way to end the trip. I thoroughly enjoyed with that one, especially with being solo. I thoroughly enjoyed like meeting so many different people from around the world. And the way that they curate the experience, like it is intentional that you are sitting across from someone who may be from China, or they may be from Switzerland. I think one person was from Portugal, many different languages, but like it was a beautiful experience. So definitely recommend that. And then the last thing in Bangkok is, I'm gonna look at my notes because I don't know how to pronounce this, but it is the Akara Sky Hunaman rooftop bar. So this was something that was recommended to me by one of my friends who just moved to Bangkok, and I will take anyone who ever goes to Bangkok with me. Like, y'all are coming to see this because I could go again and again and still not get bored. So this is, yes, it's a rooftop bar, but there's 3 levels in which you go through different immersive experiences. So they have like a lantern show, they have cultural shows, they have like this reflective room where it's all mirrors. There's like, I think it's like 10 to 12 different experiences that they have. And it's just, I've never seen anything like it. I think it is one of those things where I could explain it and I can show you the video. I'll find the video that I made on Instagram for it. But it is such a cool and unique experience. They have a kitchen in there, a restaurant. They have several bars. And then you have an opportunity to wear traditional clothing and take pictures in there as well if you would like. So that was just like, I did it on the last day and it was the perfect way to end the trip in awe. Like, I remember being like, what did I just experience? They were doing Muay Thai. Yeah, it's like one of the tallest buildings in Bangkok. So when the sun is setting, I planned to get there for the sunset, but missed it. But even after the sun had set, it is just so beautiful, like looking out and seeing all of the different buildings out there. And I went in late November, so the Christmas trees were out and the, Christmas decorations, Santa hanging off of the buildings. So yeah, it was just such a special and like pinch me way to end the trip. So those are the 5 things that I would recommend between Bangkok and Phuket. If you all would like to hear my thoughts on Chiang Mai, I think I spent 5 days, 4 nights out there. So happy to share my recommendations and links to vetted excursions as well if you would like, but just let me know in the comments. But other than that, if you enjoyed this, please do not forget to like. And if you want to see more about my 2025 travels, please subscribe. Tomorrow, we're gonna flip the script and we're gonna talk about the things that I would do differently if I were to go to Thailand again in the future. So stay tuned for that, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye.